In today's video, we're going to be walking you through the complete process from start to end on how to properly prep and ceramic coat your vehicle. And to help us with that today, we have Casey back from Koch, Chemie, and we're going to walk through the products that we're going to be using and then also the vehicle. This is a 2023 Ford. What is this thing? Maverick. So 27,000 miles on this thing. And the beautiful part about this is that it's white and we can really see all the embedded contaminants that are in this paint. So we'll go through that whole thing, show you that, and get this thing all cleaned up. So Casey, thanks so much for coming in, man. Let's go ahead and walk through real quick the products that we're gonna be using today for this project. All right, so we have 5 products here, guys. We're gonna try and keep this as simple and as user-friendly for the whole process as possible, right? So you don't have to be afraid going into this situation. We're going to keep it as simple as possible. So first off, active foam.
So active foam, great product. This is something that's coming in with a slightly higher pH to help you cut through bug guts and debris, all the organics on the vehicle. Again, to where you're kind of able to take a couple steps at one time. Instead of going into, let's say, a pre-wash, which pre-washes work great, and something like this, we're showing efficiency, so you can use a product that has a alkaline to it, to where you're actually kind of not only having a great lubricity from the soap, but also having something that helps cut into the organics, dirt, bugs, and debris.
Absolutely, and this has been one of my favorite soaps. Previously, guys only had it in the 5-liter size. They came out with the one. It's been a number of months now that the 1 liter has been out. Smells phenomenal, works great as a pre-foam too, so you can apply it directly on, let it break some stuff down. You'll see the foaming bubbles kind of, as they're breaking down, they're lifting things to the top of this of the panel. So when you rinse it away, it is able to remove those things. So fantastic product. Go ahead and move on from there.
Yeah, then we're going to go into Rapid Rust Remover. This product's coming in, it's pH neutral, so it's safe on all surfaces. This is something that a lot of the people in the industry are using on, let's say, Cybertrucks, etc. So it's going to work phenomenal on the paint of this vehicle. This right here will bring out, and you'll see the purpling, which will be taking a lot of the contaminants out of the surface. A phenomenal product. It's something that's very easy to use. You know, high level, it does have a slight odor to it. That's just the chemical properties, just making note of that. But at the same end, it's something that is giving you the results you can see.
Yeah, and again, I've tested a bunch. All iron removers have an odor to them, right? Some more than others, but for me, this one has a significant enough odor, but it does, like, some of them you spray it on the panel and you wait and you wait and you wait, and it starts to turn color and all that kind of good stuff. This one, it wants to bleed out. It's crazy how fast it starts reacting and does a really good job of pulling out all the contamination. So that's always been my go-to rust remover or iron remover. This stuff's phenomenal. Again, just know, like you said, when you go into using this stuff, it smells like rotten eggs. So on to the next. Yeah,
it's just a heads up. It's nothing bad.
Yeah.
And then we'll be going through the clay process. Clay spray, this is something that'll be giving the lubricity when we're using, let's say in this case, we're using the clay scrubber. So it'll glide it across the surface to help, let's say exfoliate the surface, get those embedded contaminants, more of like the industrial fallout stuff that may not be part of the contact wash, but help to give more of a pure clear coat in preparation for ceramic coating.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yep. And then also diving prior to coating, we will be using after the polishing process, panel prep spray. This chemical right here will help bring out that of the any of the solvents or carrier solvents that were from the polishing portion to make sure you have best adhesion of the ceramic coating.
Yep, absolutely, guys. And if you guys can see the flies, it's freaking, it's fly season for me here at my house. So they were fine when we first started filming, but they're coming in, so just bear with us on that. If you see us doing this, it's flies.
Yeah, we're dancing.
Yeah, exactly. So we're gonna go ahead and start off. We'll do all this. Before we do the ceramic coating, we will be polishing the paintwork as well. And again, we wanna keep this as simplified as possible. We're not gonna go, this is a work truck, right? We're not going to go full perfection on this. We're going to go good enhancement, probably a 1-step, and then get the paint looking really, really good, but where you don't have to go in with a real heavy cut and all that kind of stuff. Just kind of keep it nice and simple for the people, especially people at home. I know a lot of people watching the channel are just DIYers, so this will be a great way to kind of approach it. So let's go ahead and get started.
Sounds great. Let's do it.
Now really quickly, guys, I want to announce the KCx Sweepstakes. We're going to be doing a special giveaway where one of you can earn flight and hotel all the way to Georgia to the Atlanta Motorsports Park for a 2-day training at KCx's training facility. Now for the sweepstakes entry, we have their C002 ceramic all-round ceramic coating. This coating usually retails for about $200 and we are offering 50% off on my personal website. So go there, use code KCX to get 50% off of this coating. It comes to $99 and that will earn you an entry into the sweepstakes so you can have the opportunity to go to Georgia, hang out with all the guys from KCx, myself included. I will be out there as well to enjoy a full KCx certification, full deep dive into the KCx lineup, as well as proper detailing techniques and procedures, a tour of the Koch Chemie headquarters, as well as a little bit of kart racing just for fun. So get your entries in from now until the end of July. We'll be announcing a winner on August 5th. Good luck to all of you. Now let's get back to the video. All right, guys, so as I said, this is a 2023 Ford Maverick, white color, so super easy to see. You can see some bug guts and things like this all the way through the front end of it here. There you go, it's focused there. And then down here as well, we got some nice bug guts. So the active foams, we're not gonna treat this with anything else other than the active foam. Sometimes you can, obviously you can use products specifically for this stuff, but just to show how well active foam works, we'll show the before and after of what this really pulled out. I'm expecting there'll still be a little bit, but again, we'll address that as we go. One really important thing to note is if you have any stickers on your vehicle or anything like that, this one has some adhesive residue right on the front here. So we'll be using a product called Ulex for this as well. It'll just pull that off really nicely. But here's the part that I really want to show you guys is, as you can see, all these little dots, right, in the paint. And you may think that that's just, you know, a bit of dust and dirt sitting on the paint, and it is not. I'll rub this. You can see it is not going anywhere. Also, you can hear, let me see if I can get this for you. It almost sounds like sandpaper, and that is all these embedded contaminants in the paintwork. Now, this stuff happens to every vehicle, every color. On white, though, you can see it, so that's why we're working on this white vehicle. All right, guys, so to start off, like we said, we're gonna go ahead and foam on active foam. So I've got my MJJC foam cannon. This is the SV3 here. We just got a cap full from the Koch Chemie dosing caps. I have similar ones like this available on my site as well. They're a larger size with like a dosing meter in it, but these things are fantastic as well. So it's gonna go ahead and pour in the full cap. That's approximately 3/4 of an ounce, approximately from this cap. So we're good there. We're gonna pop that close and then go ahead and foam this on. Now, one thing to mention, guys, is a lot of people, and I did a video on this in the past, is should you apply the foam dry or pre-rinse the vehicle and then apply it? In this case, this car was just brought to us. The paint's a little bit warm. It's not bad. But again, it's kind of a hotter day here, again, hence why the flies are out. So I am going to pre-rinse this really quick. We're gonna lose a little bit of effectiveness of this probably because we're gonna be diluting it down a little bit. So keep that in mind. But in this case, right, I'm working outside. We have a little bit of shade here. But again, it's still warmer because it was out. So we're gonna pre-rinse it really quickly and then we'll foam this on.
Yeah, and a great note I have for that same purpose there is when you're with your vehicle and you're working on your car, you're always working on what the paint wants and needs are. So use the back of your hand, and if it's shocking to your hand, you're technically going to be not necessarily cooking the chemical, but warming chemical in the car. So in the case like Josh can do right now, rinsing the vehicle off, pulling the panel temperature down to where the chemical will have longer dwell time.
Yeah, absolutely, which is an important thing, especially with a pre-foam like this, where you're able to, you know, the longer it sits, the more work it gets done.
Yes.
All right, guys, so we're all rinsed down. Again, we didn't go in, I wasn't going in close, I wasn't trying to remove anything. It's just getting the light stuff off and then also cooling the temperature of the panel, and it significantly dropped. So let's go ahead and switch over to the foam cannon now and foam this on. All right, guys, so now the vehicle has been foamed on, right? Now, because we're in the shade and the panel the temperature was dropped a bit, we can let this dwell on longer, right? So again, it's gonna give us a chance to have the foam sitting on all this contamination and breaking it down and lifting it again to the surface. So we're just gonna let this dwell for, I don't know, just kind of assess again, depending on your situation of where you're at, but I'd say 2 to 5 minutes on average is typically where I go. All right, so we went ahead and did our initial foam, let that dwell, and then rinsed it off, and it did a fantastic job pulling off a lot of the bug guts, but this vehicle was driven out from Vegas. Some of these bugs were blasted onto the car probably at 110 degrees. So we are gonna have to go in for a contact wash now, and we're gonna be, I just filled up my foam cannon again with more active foam. We also have it filled up in our wash bucket there, so I'm gonna foam on the car, and then we'll go into the wash bucket and start our process that way. Before we get into that next step, really quickly, we have a special guest here. This is Diego. He is the lead head trainer for Koch Chemie North America, right? So
yeah.
this is the first time ever meeting. He was actually in not from Southern California, but it was in town, so he stopped by, and we're lucky to have him. Any other things that you go into? I mean, so basically we're starting off, our normal process, foamed it on, rinsed it off. We're going in for a contact wash. We're going to use reactive rust remover.
Sure.
Get all the iron contaminants out, then go into a clay, and then we're going to polish a whole 9 yards. Any other tips and tricks that you recommend, especially with the Koch Chemie lineup, that you find beneficial, or is that, I mean, I know it's pretty, we're trying to keep this as self-explanatory and basic for the DIYer at home.
Yeah.
But if there's anything that you can kind of highlight that may make the
process a little bit better.
Exactly.
Listen, consistency is key.
Sure.
Wherever you start always on the same location. So
yeah, great.
For myself, I always start on the hood and work my way all around. Even with my washes,
yep.
Even all the way around to buffing, I'm always starting the same place and finish off in the same place on every single place.
Sure.
Because that way, you get a phone call, you get something happened, or you come back, you have to take a phone call, like I said, and you know exactly where you leave off and everything. So that's
fantastic.
That's
point.
Probably one of the major things.
Especially over the years, right? I know for me, it almost becomes muscle memory. So
yes.
Where I'm just going and not even thinking. So it's true. If I know my path of where I'm going, I know where to go back to. That's a fantastic point. Yep. Same thing with clay. I always go the same direction. I don't try and crosshatch it. I typically keep in the same direction where that way I can see if I introduce any sort of marring or anything like that, I know exactly where it was and how to address it.
Yeah, your patterns are you, and that's
yep.
what's going to happen each and every time. And that way, when you're consistent in your delivery, you're consistent in people being satisfied with the work that you do. So
absolutely,
that's
absolutely. Perfect. Thank you very much,
awesome.
man. All right, well, let's go ahead and move on to the next step. All right, guys, so the vehicle's been all contact washed and everything's good to go. I'm gonna try and get my microphone here just so you guys can hear this. Again, and that's just still all that contamination that's in the paint. Again, let me get on my phone and show you guys. Even after the wash, this is the stuff that's embedded that won't come out from a basic wash. So that's where we go into the reactive rust remover and clay treatments. All right, Diego, so let's talk about the embedded contamination in this and why it's important to get that removed before a ceramic coating.
Okay, so if you can imagine running 60, 70, 80 miles an hour, what you're running at, and whatever the next person that's driving in front of you is throwing up into the air, and you're colliding with all of that.
Yeah, fair enough.
There's no way that you can take everything off to get a proper coating to have that put on, right? So we have, just feel it. If you feel it, you feel nothing but the asperse feel it's like sandpaper, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right now. So without taking that off, you're going to seal all that in with your ceramic coating. So we need to make sure we continue to do the decontamination process in order to get a really excellent sealant.
Perfect, cool. And that, yeah, like you said, any imperfections that are still within the paint, right? We talked about earlier before you got here, we're gonna be polishing this thing. We're not going for absolute perfection. This is a work truck.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do an enhancement, make it much better.
Sure.
But any deeper scratches, anything like that you want removed, make sure you do that before coating it, because otherwise you're locking that stuff in there.
Yeah, whatever is in there is under there.
Another thing with the contamination, again, I made a point earlier that this is a fantastic example because it's a white vehicle and you can actually see it. It is in every vehicle, but sometimes people may wonder, how do I know when I need to decontaminate?
Yeah.
And that's a case where a lot of times you can just run your hand over it and you'll feel all the stuff. One of the old school ways was slipping your hand like a Ziploc bag, right? And going in. If it grabs, you need clay or whatever 100%. Else. So, yeah.
But now, if you honestly, if you just use the most sensitive parts of your hand are not the bottom. It really is the top. So even if you just go on this section here on top, you actually will feel what's going on with that. Your paint should feel like absolute glass.
Yeah.
And even sometimes when it does feel like glass, well, what's on it? Do we have some type of chemical that's making it feel like that? Some kind of coating, wax or whatever? So you got to make sure that is all taken care of, so that you have absolutely the perfect canvas to work with.
Yeah, so you get that proper adhesion, proper adhesion from the coating on there, so it actually lasts as long as it's supposed to.
Yes.
Cool.
100%.
Good deal. So now that the vehicle, we actually dried the whole vehicle down after the wash process, and now we're going to go into that reactive rust remover. The reason we dried it down first is because we don't want the water on the surface diluting the product down. So if we want to get the most, same thing like with the active foam that we were talking about, right? If you want to get the most bang out of this product, put it on there dry so that it's not being diluted down.
So super important, reactive rust remover. It's not harmful, but it's always smart for us to always take care, make sure we put on some gloves, be in a well-ventilated area that we're working with, so that you're literally removing rust and rust contaminants out of the paint. So it's good to be to make sure that we take care of ourselves as well. As you can see, I'm wearing glasses. Many years of buffing without them, so start wearing them, guys.
Yeah. And as you guys can see here, like I said, the stuff works so great. It starts reacting right away, and it just starts dissolving the contaminants. It has the reaction, so it turns purple and almost starts bleeding out. But you can see this whole hood is just lit up now. The fender's starting to do its thing as well. You can see this, now that we're on a vertical surface, you can see it's actually pulling it down as well. So it's starting to dissolve, the residue is dropping down, so we'll be able to rinse that away.
Remember, it does come with a trigger spray that comes on the bottle, but another way is to put it onto a pump sprayer. You'll probably get a little bit faster reaction or faster time to put out the chemical itself. So
Definitely, and kind of save your forearm a little bit too, right?
well, right now I'm definitely working them out.
Yeah.
For there.
Yeah.
You also get a more even spray, really, with the pump sprayer as well.
Yeah, great point.
The chemical itself is pretty thick, and that's why you don't want it to dilute, because it actually starts attacking onto all the pieces of metal and whatever's encrusted in there, and starts actually encapsulating around it to draw it completely out off of the paint.
All right, Diego, so we went ahead and applied the reactive rust remover onto the panel, again, working out of direct sunlight. What's your recommended dwell time?
Really, I'd not say that there's 5 or 10 minutes or so, but I mean, you start seeing when it's pulling out. So
Yep.
you start seeing that as it starts doing its job, you'll start to see the whole pattern and everything kind of putting it together. Then it's go ahead time and
Go ahead
to take it off.
go.
Yeah,
Good
there's
deal.
3, 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's
somewhere.
typically where
But
okay.
the truth is, I mean, we all say this 3 to 5 minutes. The truth is, by the time, if I'm working on my own, by the time I'm done spraying here and I've gone all the way around,
Yep.
it's time
Start.
to go ahead and start washing it off anyway.
Absolutely.
So that's a good way to remember. Same thing with your foaming. When you're
Yeah.
foaming, it's like, oh, leave it dwell, a couple minutes or a couple seconds. By the time you're done around, you need to
Yeah,
start
you
working
have
on
spent
it.
that
So,
time already. Yeah, fair enough. Fair
Again,
enough.
you build that condition into it.
Do you recommend any sort of like using a wash media on this to help remove
No,
anything? You just go straight to
yeah,
okay.
you want to go ahead and wash it completely off.
Perfect.
Yeah, you don't want to rub any of this back into
Right,
it.
because it's all that
being
the
drawn
hard,
out.
yeah, the metals.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect, cool.
Yep.
So we'll go ahead and rinse this off, and then
Absolutely.
we'll go to the next step.
Outstanding.
All right, guys, so the whole iron decontamination step is done. We rinsed it off. Now we're gonna leave the vehicle wet. We're gonna go into the clay process, again, using the clay spray and the synthetic clay sponges here. So we're gonna go into that. I'm actually gonna let Diego and Casey handle this. I'm gonna go grab some water inside real quick. But he's also gonna talk to you about, like I said, he's the head trainer for KCx, for Chemie in the US. And they do have some training events coming up. So as they're going through that, they'll tell you about that as well.
Yeah, so now we're on to our clay spray and our clay sponge, right? There's so many different variables on how to attack a specific detail. I mean, you just mentioned off camera something super important. Go ahead and say
Well, the
that.
big thing about vehicles and working on them, every car, every circumstance different. Temperature, clear coat, mileage, etc. So your best thing as an analogy is it's what the paint is telling you need to do. So whether it comes to steps or process, you're always having a change in variables based off of the condition of the vehicle and the quality of the surface.
So important, and this is why you can't really give an accurate number as to what this is going to cost for you to do a specific detail or a ceramic coating, because you're not there to see what the paint is telling you.
Yeah.
You need the vehicle present in order for you to be able to adjust and say, you know what, this is going to take me a little bit of clay time.
Yeah, and in a case of like what we're doing right here, it's also great, to see firsthand what's happening with this vehicle, a vehicle that's just over 25,000 miles, etc. Because then you're also to see, while this is only a year old, it does have a little bit of road time, and also how we're having to massage and, let's say, exfoliate that of the clear coat to where we're taking the contaminants out into the nano clay here. And this is called a clay scrubber. The other side, the mesh, if there is some bug debris on, I can still clean up the bug debris and then go back to claying. So you have a lot of versatility with something like this.
Well, why wouldn't you want to do the bug with the clay side?
Well, you don't want to have any of the, let's say, larger contaminants get embedded in the clay, because you want the clay to actually draw out the what you felt earlier. You heard the sandpaper sound. You heard all these different things that were happening on the surface. The clay will be pulling that off. And then again, the larger debris that may have been, left behind during the wash process because you're working fast, we're out in the sunlight, it's a warm day, then you're actually going to be utilizing the other side for the larger debris.
Absolutely. And when you're doing this, clay bar, you don't necessarily want to go around and around in circles. It's just a lot better performance for you to go in the same direction over and over again, because then you're really drawing it out. If you're going around and around in circles, it doesn't really tend to hold on to what it is that you're trying to pull out. So as you go along with it, you're going to see it, you're going to feel it. You're going to feel the asperous movement on your clay, and then you're going to feel it start to loosen up and become really smooth when you're going over it. So super important to remember that. That's when you know it's done in a specific spot, right?
All right, guys, so Diego's just finishing up that spot, but I just wanted to show you here. You remember all those little specks that were in the paint that I scrubbed with my finger that wouldn't come out? They are gone, right? The clay removed all that stuff. They are gone. We're good to go now. The surface, again, if you can remember how it sounded, now it's nice and smooth, buttery smooth, right? So we're going to go ahead and polish that out now. This is ready to be polished, and then we can do the coating. As we're still talking about this, we did want to touch on the training that you guys are going to be having. So there's one coming up relatively soon here.
Yeah, there's one in July 15th and 16th. It's in Dawsonville, Georgia, at the Atlanta Motor Speedway Park.
Very nice. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And so what, is it a 1 day thing, 2 days? How does that work?
So there's 3 different trainings that we're working on, and
Okay.
it's really super cool. The first part is called the KCx Experience.
Okay.
And really that's engulfing you around our product.
Gotcha.
How does it work? How does it best suited for you? What are the best dilutions? What are the best ratios? What are the proper techniques? All this kind of stuff that just would really make you more streamlined with becoming a detailer.
Sure, gotcha.
And so that's our first section, and that's what we've started off right away. The rest are going to be in there to come, but the second one is going to be, working your way into paint corrections, ceramic coatings, paint protections, and so forth, and sanding. And
Gotcha.
So forth.
So you're going to full depth on all that stuff.
Yeah, we need
eventually. Okay.
people that really want to learn how to do that. And then the last one is called the Masters class.
Okay.
And that Masters class is going to be boats. It's going to be motorcycles. It's going to be chips. How to take care of that.
Yep.
We're talking to some really awesome people about the sanding and sanding discs and all that. And then of course we're also going to have a 2-day in-depth about interior leather care. So
Okay,
how
cool.
to take care of that and how to touch up and paint and so
Yep.
forth and so on. So that's the master's class.
Very nice. And that'll be in collaboration because KCx owns Color Lock.
That
now
will
as well,
be
right?
with Color Lock. Yeah,
perfect.
Brian is a phenomenal guy. I've learned so much from him.
I'm
and
sure,
I still
yeah.
continue. I mean, I'm still continuing to learn. You'll never learn everything all at once, So
Yep.
it's always a process to make sure. But it's never a bad thing to invest in yourself to become better by, taking some classes on it.
Yeah.
So that's really how you do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Even as far as just building the confidence so that as a business owner, you can go out and charge a premium because you're like, hey man, I'm the expert in this, not just
Sure.
getting into it. So
Sure.
yeah.
Well,
that's
there was something that
fantastic.
was just recently happened not too long ago where I was being shown how to sand a hull of a boat, and the teacher turned around and asked me, he goes, "Do you feel confident now that you could do this on your own?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, yes, I can," because before I wouldn't even dared, even as a detailer where I'm at, I'm like, nah, I'm not touching this because mess that one thing up, and you're paying thousands of dollars to
for sure. Absolutely.
and I've messed up enough stuff to know that I need to train.
Yeah, over the year, it's very, very true.
But yeah, so you want to be better, and if you want to, join on. As a matter of fact, if you go on to Diego_KCX,
okay.
right underneath my name, you'll see a link, and I think you can go on to Koch Chemie website as well,
Okay.
and hit the link, and then it'll get you to a questionnaire. and that you answer the questions, and then later on they'll send you the whole the itinerary and
Okay,
where
perfect.
you can sign up and pay and do all that good stuff.
Good deal. Very good. Yeah, so everyone go check that out as well if you're interested, especially this first one coming up July, you said?
July 15th and 16th are the
Perfect.
first.
In Georgia. So if you're on the, obviously I'm in San Diego, that might be a little bit of a tough one, but you guys are going to start doing this kind of throughout the nation as well.
We're going to be able to once we get all this situated the way we want to, we can start going out to pair up with people and say, okay, hey, we'll do a full 2-day training with you at such and such place. And so
perfect.
Yeah, working on it.
Very nice. Good deal. Sweet, man. Well, thank you so
you.
much for coming out. I know you were here for a limited time, but we're going to continue on getting this thing clayed down and fully prepped, and then we're going to get this thing in for polish and applying that ceramic coating. All right, guys, so the vehicle has been completely decontaminated, right? We did the reactive rust remover, we did the clay treatment. Now we're gonna go into polishing it. I wanna be very clear about something, guys. If you are happy with the way the paint looks and you just want the protection, right? You do these steps, it's going to make it so that the paint is prepped so it can absorb in and actually hold on to the coating. You're good to go. Just wipe, after this step, you would wipe it down with panel prep spray or any type of panel prep spray. But you wipe that down with this, it's gonna remove any of the leftover residual oils or anything else like that on the paint, giving you a nice clean surface, so now you can apply your coating. For us personally, again, we're not going for perfection here at all. We're just gonna do a one-step, boost some of the gloss enhancement of the paint. I'm gonna go ahead and show you up close of what I'm talking about. So here we are, and under these lights, the paint looks great, right? But I'm gonna go ahead and take my scan grip here, gonna go ahead and fire this guy on. Okay, and I'll look at the actual, don't look at the full ring of light, but the actual little point there. Okay, and I'm gonna try and focus this. And as you can see, see all those little scratches and marring and things like that that are highlighting? Let me try and change the color temperature. See if I can get this to show better for you. It's showing about the same, but you can see all that stuff around, right? All right, guys, so for the polishing process, I'm gonna be using my Rupes dual action polisher. I did a whole review on this. There's some things I like, things I don't like, but overall, it's a phenomenal polisher that is, it's probably the lightest one that I've had in a nice small footprint, and it works amazingly well. So in order to, this is a 5-inch backing plate, and we're going to be using the Koch Chemie micro cut pad. So as you can see here, it's a purple color. So they do everything color coded, which is nice just to help simplify. And for our polish, we have two options here. Right, so we have M302 and then we have P301. As you see here, this has and don't get confused by all those names, but this one, it's purple, so we're gonna pair it with that purple pad, and then this one has a green band on it. The green band means that it has protection in it. So we're not gonna use that today because we don't wanna apply any protection that we're gonna apply a coating onto, because once that protection, the base layer of protection goes away, the coating's gonna go with it. So we're gonna go with this one here, pure polish, and then do our whole step, wipe it out, and then we'll do the final panel prep spray and then coat it. So really quickly, I want to show you guys, just gonna do, we already looked at the paint under the light, so we're gonna do one little section, one pass, re-inspect it to see what this achieved for us. So I've got my towel here to wipe this up. I'm gonna go ahead and apply some product to the pad. I always go a little bit heavy on the first one, just so that I can saturate the pad, right? I just like to have that. So I put that much on. I'm just gonna go ahead and plop it down and spread it around a little bit. Turn the polisher on to a low speed. Just let it kind of sit and do its circular motion so that we get more coverage across the pad. So as you can see now, obviously we have our heavier spots, but there's product all over the pad now. So I'm just gonna go ahead and go into the spot and then we'll inspect it. All right, guys, so that's done. We're gonna go ahead and take the light and the camera and get in close for you. All right, so again, you can already see it's a clear depiction of this light versus that side. It's a little, you look at the edges of it, this one's looking better. We go and throw the light on. So this is the area that I hit. And it's looking fantastic. There's still gonna, again, we're not going for perfection, so you can see something there. Those were just slightly deeper spots. If I wanted to get those out, I'd have to go a little more aggressive. But again, that's not the purpose of what we're doing here. We're just going for an enhancement, and that's where we're gonna lay. So I'm gonna go up to a section that there you go. That's where I stopped polishing. You can see all that stuff coming into effect there. There you go. Okay, so that was before and this is after. That's where we're gonna keep it, and then we are gonna go into panel prep spray and coating it. Really quickly though, I'm gonna bring Casey in just to talk about the polishes. Again, I said don't get confused by all the names. There's a bunch of numbers on here, and he's gonna explain exactly what those mean. All right, Casey, so again, with the polishes and things like that, there's a lot of numbers on here, right? So for this one, it says P301. Can you give us a brief explanation just on those numbers to start?
Yeah, just to break it down really quick, nice thing about the bottles and indexing helps out, like colorway earlier, Josh mentioned purple with purple pad, makes it easy to work with the product. It was all formulated to work together. P301, P, this would be in the category for polish. It does have the green line, so it does have a protectant to it. 3 would be indexing a cut. Out of 10, this does have a certain amount of cut to it. Well, it finishes out, in this case right here, this one's finishing out at over a 9.5, which is indexed by not only the numbers on the bar, but graphic at the bottom. So you're able to get both reference points when you're working on it. So when you're testing an area or a panel in a car, again, I know right away this one has protectant in comparison to what Josh was using a moment ago, which is M3, so micro cut. And then this one right here would be indexing with the 02. This is the second version of this bottle. So the product's had a revision over time, raw goods and everything developing over a period. As they can better a product, Koch Chemie does that. And then this one's indexed at a 3.2 and finishing at 9. So again, we're getting the luster while taking out and finishing off the paint, having less contaminants, but also having that of adding more brilliance to it in preparation for the coating. And then, as Josh mentioned a moment ago, there are some imperfections. If you were looking to do a correction, we're not mastering that right now, but we do have H902 for a heavy cut and fine cut. So you'd use either of these, and then you would hop into micro cut, which we're using today.
So basically, again, H would be your heavy cut.
Yep.
Then you would go to
F for fine cut.
Fine cut, and then micro cut or polish.
Correct. Yep. And the polish has it protected.
And just to be clear, is that the only if it's labeled with a P, do they have protect again?
So
it's
this
the green band.
Yes, that labels that. So when you look at our P601 as an example, that one right there is our one cut and finish. And that one also has a green band. The green band's the easy identification for the two that have that of the protection built into the product.
Do you have anything labeled P something that doesn't have protectant in it?
No.
No, okay, gotcha. So basically, if you're looking at for your fine polishes, it'd be on the end. It'd be the micro cut.
Yes, yep.
Okay, cool, very good. Well, we're gonna go ahead and get to work. We'll do a little time lapse for you guys, polish this thing out, and then we're gonna get into exactly a quick panel prep. We'll talk about why we do that, and then again, the ceramic coating. We're gonna go into the whole thing. Koch Chemie has a ceramic coating. It's a larger bottle than others, so there's a lot of value within that because you can get more work done with it. All right, Casey, so we've done all the prep, right? We did the initial wash, we did the iron remover with reactive rust remover. We went into the clay process. We've got all that done. We polished the paint.
Yes.
Now we're gonna use panel prep spray. Again, this is just gonna remove any of the leftover oils from the polish, correct?
Yeah, because when you're working with something that's a diminishing compound, you have something that has a longer working time, so that'll have certain things that are inside of the compound itself. So this right here will make sure that nothing's on the surface to have the best adhesion of the ceramic coating.
Perfect. And so to do this, guys, let me get this thing going. Okay, I'm just gonna do 2 little pumps on there, right? And then I'm just gonna go ahead and mist the panel. Go ahead and just evenly wipe it down. Okay, just lifting everything up. Then I'm gonna flip the towel over and just do a quick final buff just to make sure I'm not leaving any of this behind as well before we go in. So we're gonna quickly go around this whole thing and then we're gonna get right into the ceramic coating. So I'm not gonna film this whole process. Casey, let's go ahead and talk about the ceramic coating really quickly because this is an interesting one, guys. It's a larger ceramic coating vial, so you're able to get more cars done with it, which is incredible. So let's see here, let me go grab it.
Yeah, and segue-wise, while Josh grabbing the bottle, it is a 100 milliliter bottle with 75 milliliter product. I bring that up just because when you receive it, it's a great product for your vehicle. It will do multiple vehicles out of one bottle. So with 75 milliliters of product, on average, I've been able to cover, let's say, 4 Tesla Model 3s as an example with one bottle of product. It is a true 9H hardness, so you have yourself a very durable coating that'll bond and protect the top of the clear on the vehicle. So something longevity-wise, your vehicle itself, you have your metal, which is a substrate, primer, color, then clear. This is something that bonds the clear coat for UV index, but also to help with durability.
Perfect, and I'm gonna show you guys the whole unboxing of the thing so you can see exactly what it comes with, but it comes with multiple, one applicator block, and then multiple, I don't know, microfiber towelettes that you wrap around the applicator pad. You get the bottle of the coating. You also get microfiber towel, you get stickers for the windows if you're doing this as a professional for your customers' cars. There's warranty cards, all that kind of good stuff. So, and as he stated, it's a 100 milliliter bottle and 75 mils of product. So if you get this, don't think that it's not full. This is full, this is properly filled. And did you touch on why they do that?
No, he thinks a product's being shipped all the way around the world. You know, it's manufactured in Germany. It's something to where the bottle itself, as it's in transit, has, you know, fluctuations in temperature. This is something to keep it safe in there and have less chance of expanding and basically popping out of the bottle.
Gotcha, perfect. So good to go. So we're gonna go ahead and, again, really quickly, we're gonna do the panel prep all over the whole car, and then we'll be right back for the install. All right, guys, time to get on to the coating installation. We're gonna have Casey kind of walk us through the process that he recommends for this.
Yeah, so simply take the applicator that's provided with it, fold one of the basically suede towelettes over the top of it, so it's nice and smooth. Nice thing about this, less chance of possibly marring if it's a softer clear coat. And then evenly distribute droplets over the pad itself.
Guys, I'm gonna film with my phone up here, up close for you as well, so you can see.
So just evenly distribute it. Then to start with, what I do is I take let's say a 2x2 area somewhere to work, and I move it around pretty quickly to kind of distribute the product in that work area before I go into the methodology of doing a grid. So now I can actually take my time and start working the product in an overlapping fashion.
And again, that overlapping fashion is just to ensure that you're getting proper coverage, right? So
Yeah. So it's just something,
so you know you don't miss a spot.
Yeah, it's just where, and you're working the product thoroughly through an area, you know. And then the nice thing about the product is it does have a reasonable amount of work time. While you're doing this, you're basically going to have about a minute of moving the product across the panel, and then you can go and work into the next section before you buff this one out. It'll give you a little bit of time to work on it, meaning covering more area before you're leveling and buffing it off, and then I can go into the next work area. Again just going quickly.
Yeah, spreading it.
And then kind of overlapping where the first spot was. And now I'm able to work the product in this section, and then I will go back and start buffing off the first section once I'm through with this. So now we can cover more area on the vehicle and then go back for that of the actual process of doing leveling and buffing it out. You know?
Perfect.
So from there, this section's good to go. And I'll set this aside, put a cap on it while I'm waiting in between. Then I can grab a towel. You know, a nice microfiber towel will work for you. And then I just work with the product. It's it'll add a lot of slickness to it, but you'll add the durability. I like to work the towel. You can use 2 or 1, flip it over, and then buff out the section you had worked on in the first place. And then you can work quad fold depending on how much product you're using.
Yep.
Flip the towel over, and then I start basically leveling that next area, then flip it over and buff it out. And now this area, this, let's call a third of the hood, has been coated.
And all good to go. Any indicators that people should look for to know wipe up time? Again, I think that's kind of it's one of those things, guys. Different temperatures, different atmospheres, humidity in the air, all that stuff makes such a big difference. So just kind of watch it. I always recommend when you're starting with the coating, especially if it's a new coating to you, start with a small section and work with that a little bit so you can see how much work time you have. And rainbowing or
this rainbows won't heavily sweat. I mean, the one thing you can do if you're really trying to dive into it and have a long period of time for it to be on the panel, you can have it, this first section you do as a test spot. You can check with the corner of your microfiber towel for tackiness. And as it becomes a little more tacky, then you're going to be into a stage of wiping off. But you'll have confidence with it. I mean, the main thing about it is just working with the product, and you'll have, again, easy work with, but then, you know, you're getting your protection based off of what the clear needs.
Yeah, absolutely. Perfect. Cool. So I'm going to, again, take a little photo of this. Or not photo, but video. As you can see, guys, the gloss looks fantastic. I mean, it did before, to be fair, right? But from there, I don't know. I mean, it looks like an enhancement of gloss already. Yeah, looking fantastic. We're gonna, again, keep the process simple for yourselves. You don't have to overthink this stuff. You get the product on there, you spread it out evenly, give it a second to do its thing, and then buff it off and level it. Again, don't wait too long, depending on your climate. But it doesn't have to be something you need to be scared of. These products are, I mean, ceramic in general, they provide so much protection and so much hydrophobic properties to the paint. And I still get people that are afraid to do it themselves. I I understand if you're afraid of the paint correction beforehand, if you've never used a polisher or whatever else, but this stuff, again, do it out of direct sunlight. You do it on a cool panel. Follow those basic rules, and you're gonna get good results. Again, if you are worried about leaving high spots where it's basically a lump, I don't want to say a lump, a streak of product dried on the panel and you can see it, and you try and wipe it off and it doesn't come off. In order to prevent that, just keep extra microfiber towels around you. If you're wiping, a lot of times the biggest thing of why a high spot can be left over is that your towel that you're leveling out with becomes too saturated.
Yeah, it's loaded. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So you're just kind of spreading that product around instead of lifting and actually leveling it out. So in that case, just err on the side of caution. If you think you need X amount of towels, use that times 2. Just have those there with you so that you can continually go to a nice dry one. But we're going to continually go around this whole vehicle now and get this thing coated, and then it'll be ready to go. Real quickly, as you're going around, 24 hours for normal water exposure.
Yeah, just allow it. The best thing for preserving any roller ceramic coating out there is give it, time to fully bond. And in that case, when I say fully bond, give it about 24 hours before you're wetting the vehicle.
Yep.
And then from there, a rule of thumb would be at least a week before you start washing the car, before it's introduced to chemicals.
Gotcha. Perfect. Yeah. So that's a standard process for this stuff. So yeah, just give it the time to cure onto the paint. And a lot of times too, as it cures, it almost starts to get a little bit more slick and a little bit more gloss. Yeah, exactly. More gloss to it. So as good as it looks right off the bat, as it kind of progresses, you come out the next day, you look at it again, you're like, man, I did a great job on this thing. It looks fantastic. So anyways, I'm going to hop on this with him and start getting this thing all done. So we'll revisit you guys in a second here. All right, guys, so we just finished up between the two of us going around this thing. We got this thing done in no time. As you can see, the bottle, hopefully you can see this, I don't know, but it's right about here now. We barely put a dent into this thing, honestly. You can get a lot done with this 75 milliliters of product. So the car's looking fantastic. I'll show you some B-roll shots of it right now. The gloss looks insane. It's nice and protected. Super, super slick. Again, I would show you a water behavior test now, but I don't want to put water on it yet. Obviously, we want to wait for that 24 hours before we do that. So that'll be down the road. And again, guys, this is called C002 Ceramic Allround. So meaning, okay, see, what else can we put it on the paint. That's all we did today was just the paint. But what else can we use this on? So
as an example, it can go on any of the hard surfaces. I did put it on the headlights of the front of the vehicle to help with removing bugs down the road for the as a work truck, something might be hitting bugs and debris.
Yeah,
so it's on the headlights in the front, but it can go on plastic trim and all the other areas as well. I've had a lot of customers that have also used it on their wheels. So it's a very versatile product. So out of one bottle, while in this case was just on the white paint, you can, lives up to its name, ceramic all around, use it on a lot of surfaces.
Can you use it on glass?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, perfect, cool. So, and same procedure, right? Just let it flash, or not, just put it on, assess it, don't let it sit too long so you don't want to get high spots, but just get it on there, get it off, good to go.
Yeah, anything, a little test spot with tackiness, you know what I mean?
Sweet.
Each substrate will be a little different, but
fair enough,
yeah, in the case of this, it's bonding to the clear coat, allow it to give time for its full hardness, and it'll be something that'll add longevity. In Southern California, we have high UV index, so this is kind of like sunblock for the car.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you see a lot of oxidizing vehicles out there. In a lot of cases, it's because of UV damage beyond that of just chemicals. So this will be something that helps preserve the vehicle.
Yeah, and another thing too is when there's no protection on it, water can seep, it sits on the panel too long. That also helps, or I don't want to say helps because oxidation is a bad thing, but that can spill on that process and really deteriorate your paintwork. So having protection on there is essential. It's a great option from Koch Chemie C002. Again, the bottle's a great size, so you're able to get a lot of work done with it. So it becomes a really, really good value play. Now, for the professional, it's fantastic because you can get multiple cars done. For the DIYer at home, maybe they don't want to coat multiple cars in one sitting. How long, once this is open, what's the typical shelf life?
Let's say shelf life around 6 months. It's something that if you have it in a cooler environment, you're preserving that of the product itself, but good shelf life. The thing is, even eating out of one bottle and you're applying to one vehicle, you'll find once you have the first one done as a DIY, it's something that typically you have 2 or 3 cars per household. It's something that you can dive into the next one when you want to. And with that too, I guess especially if it's your first time doing this, after that first one, you're gonna have a lot more confidence and you're like, I want to do the next one. I want to do the next one. So especially once you start seeing the results of,
the hydrophobic
and if
properties
you're
involved.
along lines of being a prosumer, it's something great to tap into. You know what I mean? Because then you can work on your vehicle, then you can start working through your neighborhood. I mean, you can scale a side hustle or do whatever you like with it.
For sure, for sure. Longevity of this product, obviously, there's a lot of numbers out there, but it will depend on your environment. But what's the expected lifespan of this stuff?
It's a great question. It's asked a lot. I mean, on my side, it's one of the things that's certified as a true 9H hardness.
Okay.
And through the industry, there's a standard of what years they put on it. We'll scale it back to 2 to 3 years.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, and to be a little more comfortable because of all the different factors.
Gotcha. So in best case scenarios, it'll probably go longer than that. But just a safe bet is 2 to 3 years to be.
Yep. It's
cool.
permanently bonded to the finish. It just comes down to maintenance over time.
Yep.
And through the lineup, we have other chemicals for that. But in this case, you have yourself high gloss and durability.
Within your guys' product range, because that's a question I get all the time: is my vehicle's coated? What product should I use to maintain and do all that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
So just as a topper, something somebody can use. What would you recommend from Koch Chemie?
I mean, something that if you're looking at adding, even more, let's say, slickness down the road to this, you can go through your wash regimen. You can add SOO2.
Okay.
That's something that can be put on top of it. That kind of applies like a detail spray.
Yep.
Or if you want to go through your wash process and use SOO3 at the end, that's another one that can be foamed on, rinse off. There's a lot of stuff that works with the ceramic coating because it's something now that you're technically stacking something sacrificial on top.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly it. And I've actually used my Porsche is coated, and I've used a Nano Magic shampoo on that.
Yeah.
And fantastic. I was nervous. I was like, I don't know if the protection that's going on top now is not going to be as hydrophobic as my coating. And after the wash, I saw no difference. It's still I could take an angle on the hood, blow the water up it, and then let it fall down. And it all just kind of dropped right off. So it was all good there. And then just for people to know, if your coating gets clogged, you guys have stuff like reactivation shampoo and all that kind of stuff that can bring it back to life. So that's just if you don't maintain your coating well enough, a lot of things eventually will kind of bake into it a little bit, especially if it's hot outside or whatever else. Something can land and kind of bake onto it.
Yes.
Reactivation shampoo is an acidic shampoo, correct?
Yes, yeah. So that'd be something great to unclog it, to put it back to what it was originally. So let's say this vehicle is in a work regiment close to an airport, freight yard, anywhere with a lot of industrial fallout, they may cling to the top surface. That'll be acidic, so it'll help unclog that to rejuvenate it back to the hydrophobics that the customer was used to in the first place.
Sweet. Very good. Well, thanks so much, Casey. I'm stoked to have this all done and get to walk through the process with you so that everyone can see the full process, start to finish, on how to do it. And hopefully we showed that it's nothing to be scared of. You can do it. You can get the same results. All we did is a one-step polish on this, right? Without a super aggressive polish or anything. It was just really, and the thing looks fantastic. So that's it for today's video, guys. I hope that video helps you. Please make sure to like the video, make sure you subscribe, turn on that notification bell, and we'll see you on the next one.